The deception of the serpent in the Garden of Eden was the offering of apotheosis, the false idea that man is God. After God commanded Eve not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the serpent said, "You will not die from eating of that tree, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." This was, of course, the fall of man for disobeying God, and the deception taking place here is noteworthy because it represents all false cults, religions, and secret orders, as they all offer godhood to their initiates. As a cult initiate, Freemason, and a creator of a tarot card deck, Oswald Wirth once admitted, quote, "The serpent, inspirer of disobedience, of insubordination, and of revolt, was cursed by the ancient theocrats, although it was honored among initiates, to become like unto divinity. Such was the goal of the ancient mysteries. Today, the program of initiation has not changed," unquote. For thousands of years, the false serpent religion depicting man as God was practiced among initiates. The ultimate goal of these false cults and religions is to bring their religion to the forefront of humanity. One of the most respected Masonic authors was 33rd degree Manly Palmer Hall. On the subject of the serpent, he revealed, quote, "The serpent is the symbol and prototype of the universal Savior, who redeems the world by giving creation the knowledge of itself and the realization of good and evil," unquote. Another authoritative Freemason whose books are promoted by the Masonic Lodge is 32nd degree J.D. Buck. He states, quote, "A large number of persons have reached on the intellectual plane the state of manhood and are capable of partaking of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. There is, therefore, no reason why this old philosophy should no longer be concealed." Masonic author Lynn Perkins declared in his book Masonry in the New Age that the fall of man was not a fall at all. It was a better situation for humanity. He states that man rose to divine status by partaking of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. He then states that the advice the serpent gave to Eve was wiser than the recorded command of God. And here is a quote from Sovereign Grand Commander, 33rd degree Albert Pike, the man who revised the degrees of the Scottish Rite, and the man who has an entire museum dedicated solely to him in the House of the Temple in Washington, D.C., the headquarters of the southern jurisdiction of the Scottish Rite. He says on page 567 of Morals and Dogma, quote, "To retain the rays of light still remaining among his eons, and ever tending to escape and return, by concentrating them, the Prince of Darkness, with their consent, made Adam, whose soul was of the divine light, contributed by the eons, and his body of matter, so that he belonged to both empires, that of light and that of darkness. To prevent the light from escaping at once, the demons forbade Adam to eat the fruit of knowledge of good and evil, by which he would have known the empire of light and that of darkness. He obeyed. An angel of light induced him to transgress, and gave him the means of victory," unquote. Let me repeat what he just said. The Sovereign Grand Commander of the Scottish Rite. The demons forbade Adam to eat the fruit of knowledge of good and evil, unquote. The revered Masonic author Albert Pike here equates the God of the Bible to demons and states that the serpent was the true bringer of light. This is the heretical Gnostic inversion of the Bible. Now, some people will argue that who cares? Let Masons believe what they want to believe. That would be okay, yes, if they had zero influence in the world. But the fact of the matter is that they do. James Billington was the 13th United States Librarian of Congress, serving for nearly 30 years under 5 different presidencies. He wrote the book Fire in the Minds of Men. In that book, Billington, the highest literary authority in America, reveals that secret societies such as Freemasonry have played a dominant role in fomenting revolutions. This is not a conspiracy theory, as modern propagandist media outlets and fraternal organizations wish to promote, but conspiracy fact. And he calls the revolutionary faith among secret societies the religion of our times. It is the religion of man, the religion of self-worship, the Gnostic and Kabbalistic religion of the serpent. If the United States Librarian of Congress admits that Freemasonry, Illuminism, and secret societies have been influential in political subversion, then it might be pretty smart if we take a hard look at it. In Fire in the Minds of Men, Billington states, quote, "This book seeks to trace the origins of a faith, perhaps the faith of our time, the revolutionary faith. This revolutionary faith was shaped not so much by the critical rationalism of the French Enlightenment, as is generally believed, but by occultism."